Ever get the feeling there's this whole other side of you, like just below the surface, something powerful waiting to be tapped into?
Hmm, I know that feeling.
We're diving into that today, the power of the subconscious mind.
Love it.
And our guide is Joseph Murphy with his book, you know it, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind.
Classic. Been around since what, the 60s?
1963, to be exact,
Hmm.
but it's still so relevant.
Timeless stuff.
Totally. So Murphy, he wasn't just some like self-help guru.
Oh, yeah. What was his background?
Get this, chemist turned minister.
Wow. That's a shift.
Right, but he used these principles himself, even for healing. Walked the walk.
Impressive.
And it's not just about health, though. That's huge. We're talking fears, relationships, even attracting wealth, all that good stuff.
I mean, sign me up.
Yeah.
But, like, where do we even start? What is the subconscious exactly?
Right, good place to begin.
Yeah, for real.
So I love how Murphy explains it. It's like our mind's a ship, right?
Okay, I'm listening. I like analogies.
So the captain, that's our conscious mind, making the plans, steering.
But there's always a but, right?
The engine room, the real driving force, that's the subconscious. And here's the kicker.
Hit me with it.
It doesn't argue, doesn't debate if something's good or bad. It just accepts it as true, whatever you tell it.
Whoa, okay, so if the captain's giving bad directions, but the engine's just blindly following.
That's exactly what we're going to unpack, because if our conscious mind's feeding it junk, look out.
Recipe for disaster.
Exactly. That's why understanding belief is so huge. Murphy says the subconscious doesn't judge if a thought is helpful or harmful.
So it's like neutral.
Totally. It just absorbs and acts. Like he even tells this story, kind of creepy, about this guy who totally believed a fortune teller's prediction about his own death.
No way.
Did it.
Sadly, yeah. Because his belief was so strong, it actually happened.
That's why. So we're talking like self-fulfilling prophecies here.
Exactly. It's like our thoughts are programming our reality. Crazy powerful stuff.
Okay, this is blowing my mind a little. So how do we work with this? Well, it all starts with what we tell ourselves, right? Positive or negative, it's all getting programmed in.
And Murphy has a name for that, right?
Auto-suggestion, he calls it. Basically our self-talk all day long.
So like affirmations.
Exactly. And studies show they can actually rewire our brains, change how we think, feel, act, the whole deal.
No kidding. Okay, this is getting good. So less complaining, more I am amazing affirmations.
You got it. And Murphy tells this story, it'll make you think. This young singer, super talented, but crippled by stage fright.
Oh, I know that feeling. The worst.
Right, and she kept telling herself she'd mess up. Guess what happened?
She choked.
Big time. It's like she programmed herself to fail without even realizing it.
Ouch. Okay, that's negative auto-suggestion in action.
Exactly. But there's good news.
Don't leave me hanging. What is it?
We can choose positive auto-suggestions, reprogram for success. And this singer, she turned it around.
How'd she do it? Spill the beans.
So how about this? For a plot twist. Murphy says we can use this for attracting abundance too. Wealth, success, the whole 9 yards.
Now we're talking. Everyone wants a piece of that. How's it work?
Okay, so get this. The subconscious, it doesn't get the difference between lack and abundance the way we do.
Meaning,
Like if we're stressing about bills, feeling broke.
we're accidentally making it worse.
Murphy says, yep, we're reinforcing it. But if we shift that focus...
So like already having abundance
Yeah.
manifestation, right?
Exactly. He talks about this technique, repeating wealth success all the time. But it's not just saying it, it's feeling it. Like you already got it.
Okay, I can see that. Fake it till you make it, kind of.
More like believe it till you see it. And he tells the story. This kid in Australia dreamed of being a doctor. No money, no clear path, but
But he had belief?
every night he'd picture his diploma, his name on it, the whole thing. Even hung out at the medical building, straightening the real diplomas just to be near it.
Talk about dedication.
Yeah.
So did he.
Became a doctor. Opportunities just appeared. Got the money for school, everything. And Murphy says this wasn't luck. It was that focused intention aligning his subconscious.
Powerful stuff. But what about those deep down fears? The habits we can't break. Can this help with that too?
That's where it gets really interesting. Murphy says most fears, not the jump out of your seat kind, but the ones that hold us back, they're learned.
Learned. Like from childhood or something.
Exactly. Early experiences, messages we pick up. He talks about this guy terrified of public speaking, froze every time.
Been there, it's the worst.
Right. So to overcome it, this guy started affirming, God's peace fills my soul, I'm divinely guided, I have something to give, that kind of thing.
Instead of focusing on the fear itself, he focused on peace, guidance. Interesting.
It's a total shift, right? And important to note, when Murphy says God, it's not necessarily religious, more like that universal intelligence, that wisdom we all have inside.
Gotcha. So anyone can tap into that, regardless of their beliefs.
Exactly. It's about that inner drive to grow, to heal, to be our best selves.
Okay, makes sense. And by repeating those affirmations, that fear turned into confidence.
He became a sought-after speaker. Transformation through the subconscious in action.
Mind-blowing. So if we can do that with fear, what about bad habits? Those ones that feel impossible to break.
Murphy says habits, good or bad, are basically functions of the subconscious. They're formed by repetition, become automatic. He tells a story about a man struggling with alcohol. Tried to quit so many times, but...
That pull was too strong.
Exactly. Old habits die hard, right? But Murphy helped him see that same power that kept him stuck could also set him free.
Okay, how? What'd he do?
It's about replacing, not just resisting. Like, instead of, I gotta stop drinking, it's, I am free from craving alcohol, I am healthy, whole, that kind of thing.
Changing the script. I like it. Did it work?
He used those affirmations plus mental imagery, picturing himself living a sober life, retraining his mind, basically.
So powerful. Our minds are incredible, but also kind of scary, you know?
Yeah.
Like, if we're not careful, we could be running on autopilot with bad programming.
That's why this work is so important. It's about waking up, becoming aware of what we're feeding our minds, choosing thoughts that serve us, not sabotage us. And forgiveness is a huge part of that.
Forgiveness.
Yeah.
We talked about forgiving others, but what about ourselves? That's a tough one.
So true. We can be our own worst critics. But Murphy says holding on to guilt is like carrying around heavy baggage. It weighs us down.
Ugh, I feel that. So how do we let it go?
He tells this story about a man haunted by a past mistake, consumed by guilt. It was like he was imprisoned by his own mind.
Stuck in the past.
Exactly. But Murphy helped him see he wasn't that same person anymore. We're constantly changing, evolving. To keep punishing himself for the past was doing more harm than good.
Like, he was holding the key to his own freedom, but didn't know it.
Exactly. And that's the thing about forgiveness. It's not about condoning actions. It's about freeing ourselves. But how do we actually do that? Break free from those old patterns, those subconscious tapes playing on repeat?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question.
Well, Murphy says it starts with a choice, aligning with what he calls God's will.
There's that word again.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not talking religion, right?
Right. It's about tapping into that natural urge to grow, to experience abundance, to live our best lives. Basically choosing happiness, even when things are tough.
Easier said than done sometimes.
For sure. But Murphy suggests starting each day with an affirmation. Something like, today I choose happiness, I choose success, I choose right action, that kind of thing.
Simple, but powerful. Just by saying it, we're reminding ourselves of what we want to cultivate.
Exactly. It's about feeding our minds those positive beliefs day after day, because like Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
True that. But what about things we feel like we have no control over? Like getting older. Can we really subconscious our way out of aging?
Now that is a fascinating question, and Murphy's take on aging might surprise you. He says a lot of it is in our minds.
Meaning, it's all about attitude.
Exactly. He says we're as young as we feel. That the years after retirement can be the best, because we have more freedom to do what we love.
Okay, I like that perspective. Instead of dreading getting older, see it as a new chapter.
Right. A time for self-discovery. And embrace the wisdom that comes with age. Those wrinkles tell a story.
Love it. But it's not just about how we look, right? It's about how we feel physically, too.
Exactly. Murphy says our thoughts about aging actually affect our health as we get older.
Wait, so if I'm constantly thinking about getting frail and forgetful, I'm more likely to actually become that way.
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. But if we choose to see aging as a time of continued growth, vitality.
Then we're more likely to experience that instead.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. But what about when things go sideways in life? Like really tough stuff happens. Can the subconscious help us through those times too?
That's where that deep inner trust comes in, even when it feels like everything's falling apart.
That's when it's hardest to believe though, right? Absolutely. But Murphy says that's when it's most important to connect with that inner strength. Not to ignore the problem, but to trust that there's a solution.
Okay, so how do we do that? When fear is threatening to take over.
He tells this incredible story, a man lost in the jungle. Starving, dehydrated, thought it was the end.
Oh man, that's terrifying.
Right. But then he remembered what he learned about the subconscious.
No way, what did he do?
He started affirming, God is my guide and protector. I am divinely led. I am safe and secure. repeating it over and over despite his situation.
Wow. And remember, God here is that universal power, that source of strength. So even in that desperate situation, he chose faith over fear.
And you know what? A rescue plane found him days later. He was weak but alive. He said it was his faith in connecting with his subconscious that saved him.
That's incredible. So we all have that strength inside of us.
It's about tapping into it, cultivating that unwavering belief. And Murphy says it takes practice, like building a muscle.
So how do we train our minds to have that kind of faith?
He talks a lot about prayer and meditation, creating that space for quiet, for connection with our inner wisdom.
Taking time to tune in instead of constantly being plugged in.
Exactly. Even a few minutes a day can make a huge difference. And you know, it's interesting because as we're talking about all this, I'm realizing how much this aligns with ancient traditions too.
Oh yeah, totally. Like meditation, mindfulness, prayer, they all emphasize the power of our thoughts to shape reality.
It's like these principles, they're woven into the fabric of our being. But what happens when we feel stuck, unable to break free from those limiting beliefs that hold us back?
Yeah, those could be tough to shake. Any advice from Murphy?
He says we have to challenge those beliefs, put them on trial even.
On trial. I like that. So how do we do that?
Ask yourself, is this belief really true? What evidence do I have?
So bringing it out into the open, examining it closely.
Uh,
Often those limiting beliefs, they can't stand up to scrutiny.
exactly. We realize they're based on fear, insecurity, or stuff that happened in the past that doesn't even matter anymore.
Like letting go of those ghosts that have been haunting us.
And then here's the key. It's not enough to just release them. We have to replace them with something positive, something empowering.
Rewrite the script, basically.
Mhm.
So what do we put in their place?
That's where our own conscious effort comes in. Choosing thoughts that align with who we want to be, what we want to create. And remembering we're not alone in this.
Right, Murphy talks a lot about that higher power, that universal intelligence, always there to guide us.
It's about aligning our will with that greater will, working in harmony with something bigger than ourselves. It's like we're tapping into this ancient wisdom, right? This idea that we have this power within us to shape our reality.
Totally. It's not just Murphy, it's like echoed through history. And it's true. We're not just along for the ride. We're co-creating with the universe.
I love that. And it makes me think about that I am affirmation we talked about. Seems so simple, but Murphy's like, this is huge EE.
It really is. Because it cuts through all the noise, goes straight to the core of who we are. We're claiming our power right then and there.
So instead of I want to be healthy, it's I am healthy. Like it's already done.
Exactly. Because when we say I am, we shift from wanting to being.
Yeah.
And the subconscious, it hears that. It starts making it happen.
Okay, mind blown. So we're basically giving our subconscious new blueprints, a new vision for our lives.
Perfect way to put it. And Murphy tells this great story, this woman who wanted to find a partner. She'd been searching, but
No luck.
she was stuck. So she started affirming, I am happily married to a kind, compassionate, and successful man. Specific routing.
Wow, putting it out there. And did it work?
She met someone, embodied everything she'd been affirming. They fell in love, got married, the whole fairy tale.
No way. That gives me chills. It's like we really do have this power to create our own reality.
We absolutely do. But here's the thing. It's not about getting everything we want like some magic trick. It's about aligning with our highest good.
So using this power for good, not just for selfish gain.
Exactly. When we focus on love, compassion, helping others, that's when the real magic happens. It's not just about our own little world. It's about making the whole world a better place.
And that's what it's all about, right? Well, deep divers, we've reached the end of our journey into the incredible world of the subconscious mind with Joseph Murphy. And wow, what a journey it's been. Remember, that power to create miracles, it's not out there somewhere, it's within YU. So embrace it, trust it, and never stop exploring the limitless possibilities that life has to offer. Until next time, keep diving deep.